good, YouTube? It's your girl Oro, and today I'm here with a quick tutorial. I don't know if it's that quick, actually, I lied. Today I'm here with a tutorial walking you through this process of how I did these chunky distressed faux locks. Although my hair is pink, you can do this tutorial with any color hair that you prefer. When these are natural, I've done them with my natural hair color like a 1B. They actually blend in to my natural texture really well, so they're not always this loud. So focus on the texture, maybe not the color. But also, if you're feeling the pastel vibe, I feel like I keep seeing so many baddies on Instagram and TikTok with pink hair right now, and whenever I change my hair color in like a really drastic way, I see so many people with the same color. Like, you can't tell me that collective consciousness is not a thing. Like, the baddies know the color of the season, and I'm letting y'all know the color of the season is definitely pink and other pastels, but this will work really well with a 1B or a 2 or whatever your natural hair color is as well. So if you do want to hop straight into the tutorial, you can go ahead and click that timestamp at the bottom and go ahead and get started on this whole process. If you want to stick around for just a second before that, I do just want to introduce myself because this is my first YouTube video in a long time. I've been posting like music and stuff like that, but I haven't sat in front of the camera, talked to you guys, made anything or done any tutorials maybe since I was like in college still, if I'm being completely honest. So this is new, we're hopping back on, but TikTok has just really inspired me to want to up my content creation game. I just feel like I do a lot of really cool things that I'm really excited to share with you all. If you are here from TikTok, thank you so much for supporting me and following me over to these YouTube streets. I'm really excited to share everything that I have with you guys. This segment that I'm doing today, where I'm going to be, walking through my process with my hair, I call it Oro Beats. If y'all don't know, first and foremost, I am a producer. I make music. I'm a songwriter, a rapper, singer, make all my own beats. And so when I release my beats, it's under the title Oro Beats. But I also like to get looks off. I'm an artist. I express myself in lots of different ways. One of the ways I do so is with makeup and hair. I don't really want to be a makeup artist or a hairstylist like for other people, but it is a form of my art that I feel like is really important for my expression. And so Oro Beats is because face beat, hair beat, beats beaten. Everything beat, okay? But this specific segment is gonna be a beat and eye look, whether it's a makeup tutorial or some crazy hair that I want to try out, maybe a little bit of fashion, whatever it is, that's what Oro Beats is going to be bringing y'all. So if you're new here, please subscribe. I have really cool content planned for you guys, and I can't wait to share it with you all. You haven't watched the video yet, but you're gonna like it, so go ahead and hit that like button and leave me a comment and let me know if you are here from TikTok, just so I can say, hey, thank you for being here, and let me know if there's any other ideas that you guys have for content that you want to see from me, because that would be super helpful for me. So without further ado, let's get into this video. The only area of my hair that I really like to put intention into for my parts is the front. So I split it right down the middle and do 4 and 4 on each side. I left the sections a bit bigger because I like my locks to be chunky. If your hair is thinner, you might need to make bigger sections to hold these. The sections that I part, I just use the small black rubber bands to put around them so that they stay, and then twist my hair so that everything is separated so it's easier when I install the actual locks. Now, you really don't need a lot of supplies to make this hairstyle work. The first thing that you're going to be using is a metal comb. You don't have to. You can use any fine tooth comb you want. I prefer a metal comb just because I break a lot of the plastic combs that I use while I'm doing this. The first one that I bought at CVS, and it was actually kind of expensive. It was like $8. And I was like, oh, it's a metal comb. I guess that makes sense. But then I was at the beauty supply store in Houston like a couple days later, and I found one again, and it was like $1. So don't pay more than like $1 or $2 because you just don't have to. You'll find these specifically in the men's shaving section. I couldn't find them next to the other combs and brushes. They're specifically there because I guess they're for beards and mustaches and whatnot. Kevin, sorry, my kitty just came. Say hi, Kevin. Why are you being cranky? Okay, bye. So the type of hair is honestly really flexible. There's no particular brand that you have to get. I just got whatever was cheapest and had the colors that I wanted. The type of hair that I used for this is Canicolon braiding hair. Although Marley hair has a really good natural texture for creating these faux locks, and Canicolon often doesn't because it's so straight, that's what we're using the metal comb for, to tease it out and to add that texture that I want to see in the hair, but also save money by being able to buy much cheaper packs of hair than you would get for Marley hair. So this hair is Outre Ultra Braid in the color Rose Gold. It's 52 inches. That literally didn't matter to me. I was just picking some hair. So I bought 5 packs of hair. I think they were $4.99 per pack, and I only ended up using 4 packs. So that's really not bad, $25 for this full hairstyle. I'm a girl who loves a deal, so $25 for a whole new refresh of my look is not a bad deal to me at all. So the hair already came separated into 3 different bundles within the pack. So I took one of the 3 bundles, split that in half, and then I took each of those halves to split that in half again. So with one of the 4 smaller sections that we've made, that's going to be the basis for the lock that we're creating. I just went ahead and split that into 3 parts. I know there's a lot of fractions right now, but bear with me. And then I kind of just moved them further along to elongate the hair. So while one of the parts was in the middle, I kind of moved one to the right and then moved one to the left to just have longer ends, but still make sure that all the strands come together in the middle and the pieces aren't falling apart. So this next step, this might be weird. For me, I genuinely don't care, but some people might care, so I do want to just give a disclaimer, and I gave 2 alternative methods to deal with this thing I'm about to describe. So when I make these locks, I'm chilling. I like to sit in front of the TV. I'm probably watching Love and Hip Hop because for whatever reason, I'm very late to this series. I honestly started watching Jocelyn's Cabaret first, and then my friend was like, well, you have to see where she started. Get into Love and Hip Hop. And so now I'm on like season 4 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It's my first foray into this reality, and I'm addicted. It's probably a problem. But all that to say, I like to be comfy while I'm making these locks because it does take a bit of time. I like to take this section of hair and literally loop it around my toe. You need something sturdy to loop it to as you're creating these locks because you're gonna be like twisting and distressing and all these things. What better for me to loop it to than something that's literally anchored to my body? So a good recommendation from my personal experience is to loop this around, not your big toe because then the loop will be too big at the top, but your pointer toe, and that'll be a good anchor for you to have some hold. But if it's weird for you to put your hair on your toe before you put it in your head, hey, I get it. So I did use something else that you could also use that works just as well. So really all you need is anything that you can loop this around that you can then remove. You don't want it to be like a handle or something, because once you finish the lock, it's going to be secured onto that thing and you're not going to be able to take it off. I used a tripod and then I still held it with my feet. You need something that's not gonna have a lot of movement. So if you don't mind, use your feet. Okay, so we are gonna take that section of hair and hold it in the middle and then wrap that around either your toe or a camera stand or something like that. Then you're going to just take a piece of it on one side and we're going to start wrapping that piece around the rest of the hair. So if you have ever done a faux lock tutorial before, this is a really basic method. It's just wrapping hair around other hair. As you get to the end of the piece that you're using to wrap, you don't want to get all the way to the end because then it can come unraveled. So leave a little bit, just put it back into the rest of the section of hair that you're working with, grab a new piece, and then continue to wrap down until you get all the way to the bottom of the hair. Once you get to the bottom, you're just gonna need to secure the hair together to make sure it doesn't come unraveled. I just prefer to braid it. It's not gonna be noticeable, like there's a lot going on in this hairstyle. I just go ahead and braid it down maybe like an inch or 2, and then as long as it seems straight, like it's not coming unraveled, then you're good. This is where we start the distressing process. So what you're gonna do is you're going to hold the hair taut and you're going to take your metal comb and start just running it up and down the piece of hair that you've created. What you're trying to do is distress it and get lots of hair fibers that are sticking out, because that's what we're gonna then wrap back around this process. That's gonna give it a much more distressed and, you know, more natural look as opposed to that shiny, stiff, polished look that Canacolon hair can have. After you finish distressing and getting a lot of extra material to play with, you're then gonna go back through and use the same technique to wrap this hair back around what you've already wrapped. As you can see this time, the hair is a lot more distressed. It doesn't look as perfect as it did before. It's not as like shiny or stiff. It's softer now, it's fluffier, and that's the look that we're going for. If you don't get the amount of distress that you're looking for from that first run with the comb, go back in with the comb again, and then just add even more distress and then wrap it again. There's no right way to wrap it. You can use one hand and just kind of like roll it in your fingers, like kind of like this type of motion. But you could also use two hands and kind of go back and forth. The only thing with that is the back and forth motion sometimes disturbs the lock and makes it a little like you're moving stuff around. So I feel like I like this motion because I can go from up to down without making too much disturbance. But honestly, I switched between the two. Really, you just want to get all of that hair worked in and making sure that it's holding together. When you're finished, you're just going to slide the loop off the top of your toe or this camera stand, and then you will have one lock that corresponds to one of the sections of twists that you have in your hair. So when you have finished all of your locks that you're going to be using to install into your hair, you're going to want to start boiling pots of water. I have way too many locks and I have them way too long for me to have fit them in the pot. If you're doing shorter locks, I do think they might just fit in the pot, not on the stove. Make sure you take it off the stove. I just stopped at my kitchen sink and boiled like maybe 3-4 pots of water and poured them into the sink. The reason that we're putting these into water is one, I'm gonna put a little conditioner in there, which is just gonna help them smell nice and soften up so that they'll be more flexible and not so stiff and fake looking. Two, the heat from the boiling water just really helps to not melt the hair, but kind of just bring it all together so it sticks better. It's not like a straight up fire where you're burning it, so it's not gonna like get discolored or anything. I actually used to use a flat iron for this step of the method and just run it up and down on like a low setting, but sometimes it would just burn a bit too much, and especially because this hair is lighter, I don't want any burn marks or any melted parts that just look hard and crunchy. So to prep the locks to be put into the bath, you're gonna want to take the ends of the locks and wrap them around something like a roller or curling rod. You just want to be able to get like a nice little curly texture at the bottom. So I grouped together sections of maybe 3, 4, or 5 locks and wrapped them around my rollers, and then just use some rubber bands to secure them so that they don't come unrolled. So when all of your hair has been rolled around the curlers, you're just gonna go ahead and toss it into the water. I just wanna give a disclaimer, don't burn yourself. It's boiling water. If it's too hot for you to put your hand in, don't do it. You could use any other utensil you need to, but I don't want y'all commenting like, oh, it was too hot. Like, I know. Don't touch it. But if you can take the heat, go ahead and swirl it around a little bit and just make sure everything is mixed up, and then let it sit for 30, 45 minutes, an hour, however long. Once you are done waiting, you can go ahead and unstop the sink, drain all the water, and then you're gonna take these bundles of hair and just give them a nice little pat dry with a towel, just to get rid of all of that excess moisture. After you've patted them dry with a towel, you can let them air dry. That's what I normally do, but I really wanted to get these in quickly, and the air dry process just takes forever. Like even after a full day, they can sometimes still be a little damp. So this is the first time I've ever tried this, and it worked, and I'm gonna definitely do it every time now. I actually threw these in the dryer. I did not put any heat on it. I put it on the lowest setting possible. It's air only. This is not real hair. Canacolon is essentially plastic, and I'm pretty positive it will melt if you put it on high in the dryer. Low is just fine. I was able to do what I needed to do. Everything dried perfectly. I was a little worried that maybe the tumble process would unravel them, but honestly it just added some nice extra distress to the locks without any of them falling apart. And finally, we have arrived at the installation process. You're gonna take your bundles of hair, take off the rubber bands, and unwrap them from the roller that they're rolled around. Look at that nice little curl. See, isn't it cute? That's why I feel like that step is necessary. So what you're going to do to install these into your head is take one of the 2-strand twists that you've sectioned, untwist it so that you have 2 strands to work with, you know, 2-strand twists, yeah. And you're going to put those strands through the hole. You're going to pull it tightly against your scalp, and then you're going to braid your hair into the lock. So you're gonna have 2 pieces of your hair, and then the lock is going to be the 3rd piece, and then you're just going to braid them like regular. When you get to the bottom of your hair, you can kind of just wrap it around. I have 4C hair, so my hair is very thick, very textured. It doesn't come unwrapped when I wrap it. I'm not positive if all hair textures will hold this without coming unraveled on their own, but I think the further down that you braid it, you should be fine. If you've ever watched any other faux lock tutorials, this is similar, but different in the same vein. I like to braid mine at the root. There are some that literally just use a crochet hook to pull your hair through and then kind of hide it within the lock. That might be a little faster sometimes, but from my experience, whenever I do that, I always end up losing locks. I'll be like at work or something and just finding hair on the floor. Even with my 4C hair, it doesn't really like stay. So I like to braid mine into the base of my hair so it actually holds and I don't have to be worried about leaving random locks around America. But obviously if you do that, then you're going to have an entire section of the lock that's braided into your hair and your natural hair color is going to be peeking through. You could stop here and decide you don't care. I honestly think it looks kind of cool anyway. I actually didn't finish the back of my hair because I'm lazy, but it looks cool. It's like randomly like it's not ombre. I don't know. It adds to the distressed, chaotic nature of what this hairstyle entails. For the ones in the front specifically, I did end up wrapping them because that is the completed version of this look. So to wrap the hair, all you're gonna do is take a free piece of hair that you have left over, not too thick, but not too thin. Then you're gonna distress it. I was holding it on my hand for the video, but it's much easier to do if you put it on the tripod or your foot again, just so that you have that hold. Once it was distressed, I cut it in the middle and then had 2 pieces of hair that I could use to wrap. I feel like that made sense because my natural hair doesn't go all the way to the bottom of these, so I don't think I need a full piece to wrap the part where my hair is showing. So all you do to wrap the hair, it's super easy. It's literally just like we did before, but now you're doing it on a lock that's actually attached to your head. And you want to take the end of the piece of hair that you're going to be wrapping and put it on the base of your scalp. Have a little bit of extra hanging down so that when you wrap it around, you wrap that into it and it's not sticking out or showing, or there's nothing that can unravel. So you're going to wrap on top of that piece and wrap all the way down the length of your hair until your hair is not showing anymore. I purposely wrapped my locks much looser because again, I'm going for that fluffy distressed texture. You can choose to wrap your locks at any stage of this process however tightly you want them. It's all up to you and your personal preference. I like the kind of disheveled, undone look of it all. So as you can see, like at the roots, they're not wrapped perfectly. Some of them even started to space out and are showing my hair underneath. But I think again, it adds to the aesthetic. You can decide how much you care, how closely you want to wrap these, how much you want to make sure all your hair is covered, whatever works best for you. When you are finished wrapping and you get to the end, honestly, most of these, I didn't have to add anything extra. The hair at the end is really thin. I kind of parted it so it'd be thinner on the ends than it is in the middle. And so it's such a small piece of hair that I just wrapped until it was tight and I just left it and it stayed. If you do not feel confident about these locks staying and that those might come unraveled, you can use a little bit of glue to put that hair in place so that it will stick and then you don't have to worry about it coming unraveled. The glue I used in this video is hair glue or like wig glue. I don't recommend using wig glue. That was always closest to me and I was like, oh, this will work, but no. Like, you know how it like gets all crumbly, like it's rubber, you know, so it can add a lot of extra gunk in your hair, which I decided I actually don't like at all. So it's not wig glue, but nail glue. The nail glue I couldn't find, so I didn't use it for the video, but that is what I would have preferred to use. Just a little dab, you don't need a lot, and it'll just make sure everything sticks together. All right, so if you're noticing that the roots of your locks are a bit stiff, don't worry, they're gonna loosen up the longer that you have them in. But once you're done wrapping as many of these you feel like wrapping, babe, you're ready to go. I love how these turned out. This is my first time putting them in the dryer. It's my first time boiling them instead of using the flat iron, and I prefer all of these things. These locks turned out really, really nice. I love the texture. I love the inconsistencies. You really can make these what you want them to be. If you don't want them as disheveled as mine are, just wrap them tighter, make them, you know, a bit less teased when you're running the comb, whatever it is you need to do to make them the way you want. But these are really versatile, and the thing that I love about them the most is when you're ready to take them out, all you need to do really is unravel this top part that you wrapped around, which if you glued it will be a little bit harder to get that off. You can snip a little bit if you need to, but it's not too hard to get these unraveled to take off this top part. And then after that, you just unbraid them. They're out your hair, not that long of a process. But the cool part is you'll still have the full lock with the loop to use again however many times you want to. That is one thing that I had an issue with in the past before I started doing this method when I would do faux locks, is I would literally just twist hair into my real hair all the way down and then wrap around that. But the thing is, when you take that out, then you take out the twist and then you're left with nothing. Faux locks do take a good amount of time. This wasn't the longest process, but it probably took me like 2 to 3 days to make all these locks. Not because it had to, I was being lazy. Like I said, I was chilling, watching TV. So doing it sporadically whenever I had time throughout the day to actually chill and work on it, and then taking breaks often or working on other things often. So they didn't take too long to make, but still 3 days of time is enough. And then especially when you wrap the tops and all of that, it's enough that you don't want to waste all that effort for just however long you want to keep them in. And then you have to start from scratch the next time you do it. So this is really nice that I will still have all of these when I'm done to be able to pop in whenever I feel like being this girl. And I just really appreciate that. So that is the end of my tutorial, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Again, if you've popped up here because of TikTok, please leave me a comment and let me know, because I would love to know, like, you know, who's cross-pollinating. Leave me any ideas or suggestions that you guys have for future videos that you want to see. Again, I know this is new and you're like, oh, what do we even expect from you? I don't know, we're gonna see. But I'm a crafty bitch, I be making shit. So I will definitely have more hair tutorials for you all. Maybe some different makeup looks, maybe some random crafts. I be knitting and crocheting sometimes. I don't know, we gonna see. Also, if you guys are into music, which who's not into music? I'm a producer and a songwriter. I make all my own music. I will be dropping an EP soon whenever I can finish getting that mixed and mastered, because I'm also trying to be my own engineer right now. But I do have a couple of songs that are out on Spotify, so you can go and stream those. I actually have the videos up on YouTube, so I'll go ahead and link those in the description as well if y'all want to support my music. And yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. See you guys next time.